let's get to MLS because that's your baby, and and let's be honest here. There was some big news that just came out yesterday. I thought it was supposed to come out on Thursday, but I guess so many people knew about it already that it came out on Wednesday, and that is that Henry's going to the Red Bulls. And, I was just watching PTI today on ESPN, God help me, and Michael Wilbon made his usual, I think, maybe not well-informed comment that he thought Henry's effect on the MLS and United States, the development of United States soccer in general, would be nil. He actually at least used the word nil. We'll give him credit for that. But what are your thoughts on that?
Well, of course I'm going to disagree with him, but part of the interruption there, they love trying to talk all blustery about soccer and like they know it, and I think those of us who are sort of fans of the game and have been defending it for years, we're just naturally defensive. But yeah. I just think he's off base, and arguably, Thierry Henry coming to MLS is a bigger thing than David Beckham coming.
I agree.
He's not going to bring the same level, the same pop in immediate exposure that Beckham brought. But the difference is that Thierry Henry, for one, he scores goals. That's what he does.
Right.
David Beckham doesn't score goals, and everybody thought that this guy was going to come and start, smoking the nets. Right. And of course he didn't, because that's not what he does.
Right.
But, Thierry Henry, he scores goals for one, which is something, tangible to see. But he's also a megastar. He's extremely well-spoken. He's very intelligent. He's very charming in interviews. And, he's so outspoken on racism, and he knows his history, and he's very much appreciative of the culture in New York. I mean, they got the perfect guy to come. And, the only thing that I would add is that I think the pressure on him is going to be immense, because not only does he have to, be an ambassador for the league, try to help the image of the league, but he's also got to take a team on his back that's never won anything. I mean, that's the added thing.
Right.
At least for Beckham, he was coming to a team that had won 2 MLS Cups and has been arguably the most successful team in MLS history. I mean, Henry is coming to a team that has had no success.
Right, exactly. And one of the things that especially when you listen to a lot of the commentary, and this because you read it too, but so many people saying, oh, another retirement player, another guy coming here to retire and graze in the grasses of... I mean, at what point do people... And it's funny, actually, John, when you ask them, okay, well, you just make a list for me, all the useless old cows in MLS that have come from Europe or anywhere else for that matter that can't play soccer and aren't contributing to your team. And people just say, They don't have a response for that. And, do you guys... is there some way we can begin to, besides the fact that we're talking about it, combat this ridiculous idea that somehow MLS is a retirement league?
It's such an old criticism. I don't really even pay attention to it, because I feel like when people say that, they're not informed anyways. But, objectively, you have to look at this for what it is. MLS is not and it's a long way from being at the level of the top leagues in the world.
Right.
Obviously the top leagues in the world, England, Spain, Germany, and Italy. And then underneath that, you have a second tier of very high-quality leagues, like the Netherlands, like France, like Portugal, that end up being feeders to these bigger leagues.
Right.
And I don't think there's any shame in MLS for right now shooting to become one of these types of second-tier feeder leagues, because I think in the grand scheme of things, that's as good as it's going to be for a long time.
Right.
And there is no shame in being as good a league as the Dutch Eredivisie or as the Portuguese Superliga.
Right.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. The problem is we're Americans. We're used to the best of everything.
Yeah.
We have basketball players from all over the world come to play in the NBA.
Yeah.
We have baseball players from all over the Pacific Rim coming to play in Major League Baseball. It's just the way it is. They're not used to the fact that we might have a league that's not the most desirable one on earth. That's just the reality. And we're a long way from that, and that's fine.
Yep.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. As long as we still have one of the best attended leagues. Seriously, we have one of the best attended leagues in the world.
Yeah.
I think the average attendance in MLS is like number 10 or 11 in the world.
It is. Yep.
And the average crowds that show up, they're on par with the NHL and with the NBA. And the league is healthy. It's got a good TV deal. it's doing nothing but growing. I just think that if people aren't willing to accept the fact that, look, we have a league that is not the top league in the world, they've already excluded themselves from the conversation.
Yeah, and I don't think that a lot of Americans truly understand that almost every league in the world is a feeder league, unless you're Italy, England, Spain, in some cases Germany. But outside of that, all the leagues are developing. And a good way to look at this is that you look at our World Cup team, and almost all the players on that team started where? The MLS.
Yep. Yeah, I mean that's just the reality. And it, even though most of our players on the U.S. national team play abroad, they all started here.
That's right.
And that's the thing that people need to remember.
And they need to remember that because they need to understand that the MLS is a quality league. It is a place, a great place to get your career started, just like it is in Holland, just like it is in Belgium, like it is in many leagues around there. And you're right. Most people, they just want the best, and maybe it's the perspective and the context part that they're missing. Now, we're about out of time, but I want to give you a second at least to comment on the rumors that are going on. The last rumor that I heard, which was we're going to see, and this was the big rumor reported today, that Angel is going to Seattle and Ljungberg is going to New York. Do you have any idea or on that rumor at all, anything you can report?
I don't have anything I can report. I mean, it doesn't seem highly plausible to me. I mean, it makes sense why that got started. There's been all this talk out of New York that they've been looking for this classic number 10, and he doesn't play in Europe, and blah, 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 blah. And like, oh, isn't that funny that Hans Backe is Swedish and Freddy Ljungberg is Swedish, that whole thing.
Right.
I don't really buy it. But, what I do love about this, I love the fact that the hot stove in MLS has turned into just that. It's turned into a hot stove.
Yeah.
This is the kind of thing that creates buzz. This is the kind of thing that makes people pay attention. And look, this is the kind of thing that got Thierry Henry into MLS. So,
that's right.
Hey, I say fire up the hot stove and let it burn, baby.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree with you. And it's not like New York has a bad midfielder, center midfielder to begin with in Lynn Pierre. I thought he was one of those, as you spoke of earlier, one of those guys where you go to Europe and you find kind of the gem in the rough.
Yeah, and that's one thing that MLS scouts have gotten really good at doing is finding these kinds of guys who can come in and make a difference, even if you've never heard of them before. I mean, Lynn Pierre is an obvious example. Right. Freddie Montero, nobody had heard of that guy before, and he's just lit it up in MLS. This list goes on, and like that's the other thing. As long as we have smart, quality people in this league making good decisions, I mean, that can't do anything but help the league grow.
Right. Well, we're going to continue to fight the good fight along with you, Jonah, and I want to thank you for coming on the show and spending these 20 minutes and getting through the battles with the connections and the weather. We're having those storms here, so I appreciate it, and hopefully we can have you back down the line and get some more MLS updates from you as we move forward here.
Anytime. And the only thing that I can tell you, I think the next few weeks are going to be very, very exciting for growth in MLS and new players. So I'll leave you with that.
I agree. And if we had more time, that was one of Brett's questions, who got knocked out of our interview today because of the weather. But he wanted to talk about the progress of MLS. But we'll get to that next time. And we'll get a chance, obviously, at that time to talk about Henry's progress in MLS as well. So, again, thanks for coming on, and we'll see you down the road.
My pleasure. Anytime.
Thanks.